You are watching DuBoisNOW. Talk about community affairs and government happenings in the City of DuBois, Pennsylvania. This video is produced and underwritten for DuBois TV by the Kinetic of downtown DuBois. Of course.
Get into the Kinetic, and we'll teach you the art of digital media production and help you create your own TV show. Or, if you're a business, partner with us and help us to continue lighting up your community through the power of digital media.
Are you looking for a unique advertising opportunity for your business? Scared of the high cost of reaching new customers? Thanks to DuBois TV working with us, we've had fresh talent come in and create various forms of TV shows just for you. Shows that are entertaining, technical, and above all, educational. Even more so is that our shows are fun and exciting for people of all ages. So come on, check out DuboisTV.net with original content filmed and produced here at the Kinetic. Sponsor our TV shows and you can be seen on YouTube, Facebook, even during live webcasts, and be loved by people from all over. What are you waiting for? Sponsor a show today and you'll become a hero. Join the digital revolution with DuBois TV and the Kinetic. Minds in motion.
DuBois TV programming is made possible in part by the underwriting support provided by Latinos and Company Mexican Restaurant in downtown DuBois. Latinos and Company Mexican Restaurant offers an extensive menu of authentic, freshly made Mexican food served up in a unique and historic, beautiful downtown DuBois building. Visit us for some exciting signature specialty dishes that you just won't find anywhere else. To learn more, call 814-371-8627. Latinos and Company is proud to sponsor DuBois TV, as well as other community organizations. Thanks to Latinos and Company for their support. DuBois TV original programming is made possible in part by the underwriting support provided by GAI Consultants. Transforming ideas into reality since 1958, GAI is an employee-owned planning, engineering, and environmental consulting firm providing expertise to clients in the energy, transportation, development, government, and industrial markets. With an emphasis on economical solutions, sustainable design, and creative funding, we transform the very communities where we live, work, and play. GAI is proud to support DuBois TV. For more information, visit GAIconsultants.com.
Welcome to another episode of DuBoisNOW. I'm your host, Herm Suplizio. And today's topic, DuBois Community Days. I have with me two of probably the backbone of Community Days, two of the gentlemen, Jeff Baronick and Mr. Bob Wachob. And we just wrapped up another fine Community Days. And both of you need to be commended on that. And we'll go into that a little bit later. But maybe Bob, we can start with you and maybe give a little history of Community Days and how it started and how we got where we were at and how many years has it been going.
Well, as we wrapped up this year, it was our 23rd year. I get asked that question a lot, and I never have a complete answer for it. We started the year before Community Day started. We had our regular Fireman's Parade, and Friendship Host Company had a food booth in the city park to try to raise some money for their organization. I believe you were involved with that many years ago. And from that and conversations among the host companies and firemen at the fire halls, the idea came that we should start a community festival. Tom Mix had come and gone. DuBois wasn't really doing anything, and we were looking for something that we could do to make the Fireman's Week a bigger deal and to try to attract more people to the parade. And that's really where the idea came from. Going into the first year, as we look back, it's actually kind of funny. I think we expanded it from the first year that you guys had your tent, which wasn't officially Community Days. The very first year was your tent, and I think a volunteer host company. I think we had 2 food booths. We had some game booths set up. We might have had a craft show, very small. And as you look at what has happened over the last 23 years and how it grew and how Jeff, and of course you've been involved with it as well, brought it into its adult form, into its maturity. It's really amazing.
Sure. I think back, it's hard to believe it's been 23 years, since the first event. And I can remember that when you said that, Friendship had a little tent over there and they must have sold, probably 300 or 400 pizzas that night in just those few hours. And line was forever. So, something really took off from there.
And it's flying. I mean, it's really flown by. 23 years is amazing. It's kind of funny. Unfortunately, I was there for the first one, and it's like, holy smokes, 23 years have gone by. It's amazing.
And maybe Jeff, you can go into a little bit. Tell our viewers out there that I think sometimes they just show up that day or those 2 days, and see the all the people over there and all the different events that are going on there are really just unbelievable. Sometimes it's hard to get your hands around. It's hard to understand. And maybe you can tell the viewers out there that this just doesn't happen the day before.
No, it takes an awful lot of planning, and it's just more than myself or Bob Wachob or Herm Suplizio. It's an entire fire department. It's really an entire community, and that's what makes Community Day so special. But there is an awful lot of planning that goes on as far as entertainment, scheduling, help with the city, the parade. The parade is a massive undertaking. More to the point, there's planning that goes on that we don't even see. The nonprofit organizations, the churches, the Boy Scouts, everybody, they get their ducks all in a row and what have you. It's just not a simplistic thing. In a way, just sure is an awful lot of work for a day and a half, but it usually is a wonderful day and a half. Always has been. This year the weather wasn't the greatest on Friday night, but we rebounded greatly on Saturday, and it was again another great event, not only by the DuBois Fire Department but the entire city of DuBois itself.
Jeff, maybe you want to tell the viewers out there, probably a lot of them don't know, is the concept of Community Days. And where did it start from? Start to finish. Maybe explain it to everybody so they understand it.
Well, the concept of Community Days really started 23 years ago with a gentleman sitting to my right-hand side here, Bob Wachob. Although he won't take credit for it and makes it like it's a community effort, he was really the one who came up with the concept. And really, what Community Days is a celebration of the community itself. It's simply meant to celebrate that. It's meant to celebrate the wonderful town of DuBois, Pennsylvania. It's meant to celebrate our wonderful fire department, and really everyone, all the businesses, all the nonprofit groups. Quite simply, Community Days is not a fundraiser for the DuBois Volunteer Fire Department in any way, shape, or form. We have never made one nickel off of Community Days. Each year this year we raised close to $120,000 for a day and a half, and that $120,000 all got poured back into Community Days. We don't make as I say, a nickel off of it. The only way that you can be part of Community Days is from a nonprofit standpoint. You must be nonprofit. That's the only way that you can sell anything in the park. All the food vendors are nonprofit organizations. As far as if you're a business, to be a business as part of Community Days, you must be a sponsor, okay? And with that sponsorship, that entitles you to a banner through the parade. It entitles you to a booth if you wish. You're more than welcome to have a float. It's part of radio advertising. It's part of our program book advertising that goes out to close to 15,000 homes, as well as then you're part of the advertising on our great DuBois television station. So with that said, and again, that's the only way that you can be there as part of a business, but there are many churches, groups, organizations that just come. They have face painting, they have putt-putt golf, they have all kinds of activities. Again, everything in the park is at no cost.
Wow, that's something really, that's really remarkable.
Well, everything that the fire department sponsors, we have some nonprofit groups that are doing some games and some other things now that charge a very small fee. I think it's important to be said, though, too, that even if you do pay your sponsorship fee and you are a company and you are in the park, they are not allowed to sell anything. They're not allowed to make a profit. The only groups that can profit at all from Community Days are nonprofit groups, and that does not include the fire department itself, because the fire department is simply spending the money to put on Community Days.
Yeah.
What's really nice, I think, about Community Days, and what I've always been proud of with the concept, is that when you go there, you can be guaranteed that when you walk up to a booth to buy a hamburger or a piece of pizza or haluski or whatever it is, that those are your neighbors in there, and that the money that you're spending to buy your food or to participate in a game is going into your local community and going back to your neighbors. And there's no food booths. It's not a carnival and atmosphere. Everybody is local, and everybody is nonprofit, and everybody is your neighbor. I mean, it's about the community.
And I think that's why we raise so much money, to be very honest with you, to raise that amount of money for a day and a half festivals, because I believe that's something that everybody can grasp the concept of, and it's something that everybody believes in. And as I suggested to you earlier when we were talking off camera, it just sort of is amazing to raise that kind of money and how everybody gets into it. We realize with the parade that the traffic is sometimes messed up. With that said, we hardly hear any complaints whatsoever. We realize that the traffic on the boulevard, or we realize that the parking is limited, and we realize a multitude of things, but everybody just really seems to jump in and enjoy the weekend. And like I said, it's just it's something that we can all be very proud of. It's just more than us, the fire department. I'll be very blunt with you. We couldn't do it without the help of Herm and the city government. They help us out greatly with the use of their police force for the parade and security. We couldn't do it without the street department, who helps us out tremendously. Horses along the parade route, helping us, especially this year with the significant amount of rain that we had. They jumped into action on Saturday morning, helped us out.
Absolutely. Now, what do you do physically? Your jobs? You mentioned Jeff.
He watches.
I actually, all we do, Bob's job and my job is to keep Jeff in line. That's what our main job
That's our job. Keep Jeff Baronick
and
in
believe
line.
me, if anybody knows Jeff, that's a full-time job. But no, in all honesty, he pours his heart and soul into this event, and he works on it 365 days. That's how long it takes to put something like this on.
He sure does.
Really hats off to Jeff.
Now, you guys bring a lot of talent from outside the area, too. I mean, Bob, we were talking earlier in the year about just what it takes to coordinate and get the bands in here, and the cost involved with this. People don't understand that, do they?
Yeah, we're well north of $100,000 that we raise every year, mostly through private donations and corporate sponsorships for the most part.
Yep.
And because a lot of people don't know that every time they see a marching group going down the parade route, that wasn't free. We had to pay for that, and pay for it is not cheap either.
And people have to understand, all the money we raise for this event goes right back into the event.
Yeah.
There's no salaries, number one, but at the same time, there's no profit to the DuBois Volunteer Fire Department. The people that the nonprofits make money at their food booths, and that's what it should be for.
Right. And hats off to Herm and the city council too, because I don't think we could do it anymore without the help of the city and all that they provide to us. So big thanks to them. Absolutely.
To me, the most amazing thing about Community Days, to be very honest with you, is by 2 o'clock on Sunday, the city of DuBois looks like there was never even
nothing ever happened.
Hosted. That comes through the city. The wonderful Boy Scout troops that jump in to clean the parade route, clean the park. It's just, it is really, that's the thing that I'm most proud of. It just, as I suggest to you, that the best part of Community Days is how the community comes together, as evidenced by this past Community Days. We had a little excess precipitation. The whole community jumped in. The City of DuBois Street Department, we couldn't have done it without them. On Saturday morning, trying to recuperate the park. Just weekends like Community Days are the real reason that we use the slogan "City of DuBois, best place to live, best place to work," because it's 100% true.
And I want to touch on something Jeff said. Just like I said, is sort of somebody that takes a step back. Watching the fire department, the Boy Scouts, everyone coming together. It's the bottom line is the community coming together that really is the theme behind Community Days. Obviously, it's called Community Days, but it's the community coming together. Bob, I think you touched on it, and I know Jeff, you touched on it. Is when you go up to a food booth, you see your neighbor there, and it might be the church or the band or the one of the midget football teams or one of the fire departments. But it's really the community coming together. And Bob, maybe you could touch on I know it doesn't cost a whole lot, but maybe you could touch on and maybe tell our viewers out there that want to be a sponsor for Community Days, whether you're a business or you're just an average Joe citizen who wants to be part of to put forth and be a sponsor for Community Days.
Well, we have a lot of advertising opportunities, and I think that's one of the things that we founded Community Days on. The concept was that we were going to have something here, and that anything that brings people together allows you to market that, and companies will pay for the opportunity to advertise. And so I think one of the most popular ones that we have, and Jeff mentioned this earlier, is our sponsorship. We started it 23 years ago, and it was $250, and I think it went up to $300 a couple years later, but it's been like $300 up until this year. I think this year we raised it to $400, but
correct.
For $400, any company can be a full sponsor. They get a banner in the parade, they get a banner on the fence, they get advertising in the book, radio advertising, they get an opportunity to put a booth in the park.
Wow.
And I think when we first started, we maybe had 10 or 15 sponsors. And
a lot higher than that now.
Yeah, I think this year we were over 140 sponsors, and then that's just sponsors. There's still other companies that buy advertising and participate in the program book and do other things. So it's.
How about you're the average citizen? You just want to give $5.
Well, we have a fundraising campaign. We send letters out every spring. It's more like January, February, to many of the area residents, and they have the opportunity to send a contribution in. For that, we put their name in our program book as a patron. If you don't receive a letter, if you just want to participate, there's one way to do it is just simply put money in the boot during the parade.
Sure.
Because all that money goes back into community days. Another option is to just simply call. Our headquarters is United Way. They can call the DuBois United Way and tell them that they'd like to participate in community days and or contribute, and they can contribute that way as well.
Yeah, if you really want to get down to the concept, for a $400 sponsorship, you will never get your business name in front of more people for $400 than you will community days, if you want to take advantage of it. Like through the parade, we had some wonderful floats, so we give prizes away for the business floats as well as nonprofit organizations for the top 3 places. Like I suggested, you can have a booth in the park. Again, if you're a business, you cannot sell anything, but you can pass out paraphernalia, you can face paint and balloons. So a lot of businesses do that. Just again, not so much for the marketing opportunity, but to be a part of the community. That's correct. This year we raised close to $40,000 just from people, around the community, Joe citizen, as you term, that have just sent us money in, and what have you. And again, as Bob said, you can, if you do not receive a letter, which most people do, but if you don't, then what you're more than welcome to do at 223 South George Street, that is the address for the DuBois Area United Way, and our headquarters, you're more than welcome to send that contribution there. You can call 371-5011. You'll speak with 2 lovely women who truly are the glue of community days, which is Bobby Schaefer and Marla Mins. Without them, there would be no community days. And if you see them out in the public, just please give them a thanks, because that program book is an awful lot of work, as well as just keeping all of us organized and
Sure, a lot of people forget that, but without Bobby and Marla, Jeff is exactly right. Community days is non-existent, and they're sort of behind the scenes.
Yes.
You won't see them on the camera like we are here today.
That's correct.
You won't hear them on the radio, but without Bobby and Marla, Jeff's exactly right.
Yeah, you don't see them running around the park with a red shirt on during community days like we do.
Exactly right.
They're smarter than that.
They're smarter to get involved, and they stay behind the scenes.
They are the backbone.
Another thing on sponsors though too is I had mentioned that we saw the opportunity back 23 years ago that we could raise money through the marketing. I know that even today, the 140 people or companies that sponsored, some of them were doing it for the marketing opportunity, but I think most truly are just simply doing it because DuBois Community Days is so successful and they respect what it represents,
especially,
and they just want to be involved. They would probably give us $400 and not have their name anywhere.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes as to what we've accomplished over the years.
It does, especially our major sponsors. Our major sponsors really are a little bit bigger. They don't have the time, nor the wherewithal to, for the amount of money that they give us to participate, and they just do it because it's the quote unquote the right thing to do, and that's what they enjoy doing. And there's an awful lot of people that benefit from it, and there's an awful lot of smiles on an awful lot of faces on Community Days weekend.
Especially the kids. Really, when you think about Community Days, it's oriented around the kids. And maybe, Jeff, you can just touch on and let the viewers out there that don't know, maybe don't get a chance to come to Community Days, don't know what it's all about, maybe the work that goes into it and the planning and some of the things that are over there, and maybe some of the acts that you bring in from all over the country.
Right. Well, the parade is the epicenter of it all. And to be very honest with you, we have 2 gentlemen who run the actual physical parade of getting the lineups and what have you, and that's Dave Sr. and Rick Zerziga. And again, they're like the Bobby Schaefer and the Marla Mins of Community Days. Without them, that parade does not go off, and with all the firemen, but especially those 2. But I work very hard throughout the year to try to bring in different things. I like entertainment. I like live entertainment. I love music. I love unique things, and I don't live by the concept that we're just little DuBois. In other words, we bring people in from all over the country. This year, we had a lot of people from California. We had a lot of West Coast influence this year on community days. We have animal acts that come in from all over the country. This past year, we've had the elephant encounter, but we've had an alligator show. We've had a tiger show. We've had monkeys. You name it, we've had it. We've had trapeze acts. We've had BMX bicycle racing. We've had all different types of unique things. There's a lot of creative talent as by shows like America's Got Talent, American Idol, and things like that. And we brought a lot of those people here to DuBois as well. This year we had a group called the Company Men from California. We had a 3-man group that played 32 instruments from Chicago, Illinois. Just a multitude of things. But we look for family entertainment that's fun, that's all-encompassing. We work very hard to try to get things that hit all age groups. Some of the musical guests that we've had throughout our career, like the Mahoney Brothers and Phil Dirt and the Dozers, and last year we had Donnie Iris. We've had Neil McCoy. We try to think big. We try to think out of the box. We had a Broadway show that was traveling. It was called the Golden Dragon Acrobats, the Chinese acrobat show. But just a multitude of things.
Merry Christmas! Oh, you do! Oh, thank you for that one.
Again, it's all based upon the concept of enjoying yourself, having fun, unique things that we always don't get to see, but we don't have to travel 2 hours to Pittsburgh or 2.5 hours to Cleveland or wherever, or 4 hours to Philadelphia. We can bring it right here to DuBois, and again, it's another source of pride, and people really look forward to it. You'd be amazed at the people that I'll see on the street saying, "Hey, what are you bringing this year?" Or, "Hey, we have this idea or that idea." So it's morphed into a real fun thing.
It's something. And as Jeff said, Bob, unbelievable. Everybody, little DuBois, and this is what happens.
And you have to give credit to Jeff too on that, because I did when we founded it, and I ran it for the first 8 years, and then I got out for a couple years just to take a break. When Jeff took over, he had that vision. When I was doing it early, we were still bringing in local groups and doing local entertainment, but there's nothing wrong with that. But Jeff really saw the vision of going bigger and bringing in the national acts, and I think you two together and a few other firemen worked hard to get the stage built during that period, and that has really had a significant impact on the growth of community days.
I don't disagree with you, and you must understand the stage itself, and he won't take any credit, but that was 100% Herm and his vision. That gives us credibility. Every act that walks in there cannot get over, because they play all over the country, cannot get over the type of facilities that we have. People so much can't get over, and I'm referring to the acts that come in from out of town, just how beautiful our park is, okay? And I will tell you, the most important part of getting the good acts is the following, is they always want to come back, and it's because of the people at DuBois. I received a letter 2 years ago, probably the nicest letter I've ever received. It was from a gentleman by the name of Randy Burns, and he was the mechanical man. He was like a human statue from Las Vegas, Nevada. And Randy said that he had never been in a better place to perform in his entire 30-year career than DuBois, Pennsylvania. The people were just so nice. And that's something that not only just us, but the entire community can hang their hat on, because we get people calling me back every year, "Hey, can I come back to DuBois?" They love going to Luigi's to eat. They love going to the restaurants, how nice the people are. They just love the parade, and they love the whole concept of it.
I guess, again, we could probably wrap our
even
so many
this year,
names for
this year, the Company Man. I don't know how many times up on stage they kept saying what a great town DuBois was, how great the people are, how hospitable everybody was, and that's hats off to DuBois. Our community. Man.
That's right. It's the community commitment, it's the hospitality. There's so many different points we can. Again, comes back to the sponsors. People that sponsor, money comes in, we can get some good acts.
Make no mistake, you can't do it without the money. These are not inexpensive endeavors, to be very blunt with you. Extremely expensive, and without the generosity of the businesses and the people at large, again, the generosity of the City of DuBois and Herm and everybody that jumps in and helps, again, there's not one thing that you can point out. It is a multitude of things that make it the wonderful thing that it is.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jeff, maybe touch on, a few years back, we kind of brought a new thing into the community days. We put some sports stars in. Maybe touch on that.
We always try very much to get sports stars. this year, wonderful, and our whole pretense is they have to be good people. This year we had the old 2-9er Phil Bork, former Pittsburgh Penguin and current Pittsburgh Penguin announcer, and just a real nice gentleman. The year before we had probably one of the best human beings I've met in my time is Mel Blount, the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer, and again, they love the concept of coming up. Through some connections and some phone calls, that's how we get in touch with these sports stars and what have you. LB Oxenrider and Kevin Benson. Kevin's a local guy from Channel 11. He's our weatherman, but we've become good friends with his friend, which is LB Oxenrider, and they help us out. And again, same concept. These guys love to come to DuBois because they just enjoy it. They can't get over the number of people that come to the parade. They can't get over the fact that people put their chairs out 3 days before. It's just, it's just the whole concept of it is just something that's really, really wonderful.
Well, Mel wanted to even come. Mel was planning on coming back this year just to come to the community.
He just wanted to come, and he didn't want to.
Last minute schedule problems, he couldn't make it.
I always like that. That's nice having a sport because people in DuBois maybe don't get a chance to get autographs and
shake somebody's hand, and get a picture taken with them. Yeah, and then that's the whole key. Is you're exactly correct. I will tell you that sometimes it's. I seem to like the retired sports stars a little bit more. They seem to be a little bit more amicable, a little bit more, how do I say, our heart's not in our throat hoping they show up. We know that they will show up and they'll always be a part of it and what have you, and they represent themselves extremely well. So hopefully that is something that can continue, and we will continue to work hard. Now we do a lot of Steelers because it's the off season. This year we had Phil Bork, and as I suggest to you, if it wasn't for the unfortunate untimely demise of the Penguins, there's probably a chance that we wouldn't have had him, because hopefully every year we hope the Penguins are in the Stanley Cup Finals, so you can never really plan that. It's always a spur of the moment thing. We'd love to get the Pirates up here, but obviously with being a summer event and in summer, it's just a difficult task to do. But we'll keep pushing to keep that up. We'll keep pushing to get some maybe a little bit national act and what have you. We've had a couple of them with Donnie Iris and Neil McCoy and what have you, but again, that's also extremely difficult and that's very expensive as well. So
Bob, Jeff alluded to it a little bit earlier. Maybe you can touch on the parade a little bit. How big is this parade? And obviously, it's a fireman's parade, so obviously there's fire trucks in it, but obviously there's more than just fire trucks.
Well, the parade really has matured over the years. We did at one time call it Western Pennsylvania's largest fireman's parade, because probably 20 years ago, before the fuel crisis and everything that we've had with prices for gas and diesel fuel, we would have a 3.5-hour parade. Over the years, it's kind of changed. We've seen a big drop-off of fire trucks. It's harder to get trucks to come because of distance and fuel cost. But interesting enough, the local community has pitched in, and now floats seem to be a really popular thing. Most of these organizations that are sponsors, as well as nonprofit groups, are putting floats in. And if you saw this year's parade, some of the floats are really getting pretty complicated.
Yeah, they're outstanding.
They're really doing a great job.
How about some bands?
That's another problem we've always had. June is everybody likes high school bands, but June is very hard to get a high school band because school just left out. The bands aren't in session. They usually don't come back until mid-July, August, when they start doing summer band camp. And we pay a lot of money to get the high school bands that we do get, but it's always been a problem. It's funny, I've always said if the town would have burnt down in September, which because we celebrate community days around Fireman's Week, we probably would have 20 or 30 high school bands, but it's hard for us to get that. We've adapted. The last 3 years now, we've been doing a drum and bugle corps competition on the stage as part of community days, bringing in anywhere from 5 to 7 drum and bugle corps, and that helps add to the parade because they also march in the parade and add music. So we're always looking for ways to expand the parade and to add more entertainment to the parade. Jeff takes a lot of his roaming acts that he brings in for community days, and we run them through the parade route as well. Sure. But it really is something.
It sort of does become the highlight.
It is the epicenter. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Well, we also learned over the years that 3.5 hours is not necessarily a good thing.
No, it's not even in the least. And then now we're between 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes tops.
It's perfect.
It's a non-stop format. You can sit there for for a couple hours, relax. We move the parade to 5 o'clock, and the reason being is then that way we can get everybody through, and then they can go down to the park, because after the parade there's literally a couple thousand people standing into our little park.
Several thousand.
It's just become a wonderful, like I said. But Bob, again, the parade is the epicenter of it all, and with that said, there has been an awful lot of work done to get more bands to come, to have floats, to things like that. Maybe not so many fire trucks. And it's really been the last 4 or 5 years.
Maybe you could touch on, Jeff, real quick. A question that is always asked with me. Maybe we can get the viewers out there. Why is it? Why do we always have this community days when we have it, the time of the year?
Yeah.
And people don't understand why that is, and maybe you can touch on it real quick.
Sure, I can. It's based upon the Great Fire of the City of DuBois of 1888, and that's what established the City of DuBois Volunteer Fire Department. And simply, whenever day the 18th of June occurs, that weekend before is always Community Days weekend. So if the 18th is on a Friday, the Friday and Saturday before is Community Days. If the 18th is on a Sunday, the Saturday and Friday immediately prior to Sunday are Community Days. So that's how it's determined, so you can set your calendar to it every year.
Yeah.
But from the Great Fire of June 18th, 1888, the weekend before, the Friday and Saturday, is always going to be Community Days.
And Bob, maybe we can touch, we can go off of Jeff here a little bit, and that's what Community Days is centered around. But we've thanked a lot of people here today, and obviously, as we know, it's the whole community. And but what about the firemen? How do you do it without the firemen?
Well, I don't think there's any other organization in the city or in any surrounding area that could do this besides the DuBois Fire Department. I mean, the amount of work involved, the amount of people that you need, the communications that you need to pull it off. People, even the parade itself, to try to shut down the City of DuBois and run a parade, that takes a tremendous amount of manpower and communication. And Jeff has said this for years. I don't think any other organization could do it except the fire department. And it's because we're such a good organization, a large organization, and we have such great people.
And I think Jeff said it earlier, the fire department does not get one penny out of this.
No.
Now their food booth, if they're having a food booth, that may
each individual fire hall might have a food booth that is for their own specific hose house.
Right.
But the organization, the DuBois Volunteer Fire Department, is just really, to be very blunt with you, it's a way to say thank you to our community for all that they've given to us. We give an awful lot back, but they also give a lot to us as far as the city government, their taxes, our fire equipment, their understanding, is really what it comes down to.
And people have to understand too, the fire department gets criticized sometimes. Guys are down there washing their cars, or they're doing this or doing that. Take a step back, because they sort of do give back. And Jeff and Bob, you're both right. It is a way for the fire department to give back, and I think it's a great organization that again takes everyone. It's just not one or two individuals that make it.
And I think because the fire department founded it and started it has really helped it grow. It adds legitimacy to the fact 23 years ago that people knew this was an organization that wasn't going anywhere. They were doing it for the purpose of helping the community. And I think that's one of the reasons we've been successful, is because it was fire department that started it.
Yeah, and I think on a totally different subject in relation to the City of DuBois itself, the City of DuBois Volunteer Fire Department, Community Days, our hospital, our schools, I don't think that a lot of people really actually realize what we have here in DuBois. And it takes people to come from out of town, whether it be for Community Days or some of our guests, to just, sometimes we don't know really how awesome our community is. And I truly mean that. And I think, like you said, sometimes the fire department takes a little bit of grief for this or that or what have you. Well, in a polite way, you should see some of the other places. We should be all thankful for what we have, or our hospital, or our school system, or I know Herm gets plenty of things, complaints that, I don't know, the city plowed into their parking lot or something like that. But,
the water's dirty today.
Yeah, the water's dirty.
Why is the water cloudy?
In a polite way, like I said, and I only see it because there's plenty of guests that come from out of town and what have you, but we should all be proud of what we have. Not only communities, but the whole, area itself, because we're very fortunate and very blessed.
And that brings up something too that a lot of people don't realize is this has turned into an event that brings people home. It's like the DuBois homecoming. Don't even think about trying to get a hotel room in the city of DuBois or in the surrounding area on community days, because even with the growth of hotels that we've had recently, you still can't get a hotel room for that weekend. They're all booked.
And there are people that will call the city building, will call me, will call you already saying, hey, when's community days next year? They're planning weddings around it. You laugh, but an awful lot of preachers. I get a lot of calls from a lot of preachers saying, hey, what weekend's community days? I want to make sure there's no weddings that day. And again, just a testament to the entire area.
Yeah, and it is. It really is something. I mean, DuBois, as you've heard me said over and over again, is the best place to live and is the best place to work. We have to be thankful for what we got. Easy to criticize. A lot of times it's not easy to compliment. Let's change hats here real quick. We sort of touched on it a little bit. Community days, Jeff, you want to get something to eat. How about some of the booths you got over there? There's something else.
Yeah, and that's again, just because we have nonprofits does not mean the food is not outstanding.
I think it means it's better.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Maybe with a little tender loving care. We have things from homemade ice cream to the Boy Scouts doing their fresh cut French fries.
Funnel cakes.
Funnel cakes from the Sebula Raiders. The Volunteer Host Company does pierogi and halushki. Third Ward they brought a smoker this year. Had smoked pulled pork. Tri-County Church has a multitude of things. There's Bloomin' Onions. There's deep fried Oreos. Fourth Ward Host Company did deep fried Oreos this year. Just a multitude, and again, it's all reasonably priced. It's going to your friends and your neighbors. You can, and as Bob always said, you can conceivably go over to community days with $20 in your pocket and a family of four. Get a hot dog, a drink, and what have you. Spend the entire weekend there, and it's just fun and affordable. Entertainment for all.
Sure. And Bob, I don't know. You got the weightlifting. Maybe things like that. You got a weightlifting competition, face painting. It's a broad thing of things that go on.
I think we've always tried to keep things as versatile as possible and bring in as many different activities to attract as many different types of people as possible.
Very rarely do we bring the same act in year after year, and when I say that, we definitely don't bring any major acts in year after year, and there's some of them that I really would like to, but again, we try to look for unique creative things. Now some of the ancillary things like face painters or roaming entertainment, that's sort of difficult to find, and even that we switch it up every couple of years and what have you, but anything that's major entertainment, we work very hard to bring different things in. I will tell you that I'm running out of options. I'm not going to lie. Really, probably what I might even do for the 24th anniversary of Community Days is maybe do a little bit of
a website.
Yeah, a little website. Bob and I have been talking about, and let you list all the acts that we've had for the 24th anniversary of Community Days, and maybe you, the community, pick out what you'd like to see. And with that said, then we'll try to accommodate. A lot of it's routing, a lot of it's scheduling, a lot of it's booking. And the next breath, then, and for the 25th anniversary, we really like to put a little extra fundraising push together and have a big blowout as well. And one of the big things, not only the parade, but another highlight of Community Days, and it's really through the generosity, and it's really increased, of Tony and Paula Cherry. Tony's our city solicitor, and her sister Paula is the assistant solicitor, is the fireworks display by Zambelli International. These last 2 years have just been just phenomenal.
A great show.
Yeah, 12 minutes
more
long.
comments on the fireworks.
Yes, exactly correct. And they've helped us out greatly through their generosity. And again, it's the money that we need to have to make this go. But especially these past 2 years, we've kicked it up in price and kicked it up a notch. We've lowered the duration to 12 minutes. Okay, so it's only a 12-minute show, but it's high impact show. Zambelli International are the best. They're wonderful. And again, we really enjoy working with them, and we have no issues or anything to that effect. But that's always a highlight of Community Days. It sort of puts a nice bow or icing on the cake, for lack of a better term.
I think that's the point too, is that every year we're always looking for things to change, and we've learned so much over the 23 years. I said earlier, a 3.5 hour parade is not necessarily a good thing. And it took us a while to learn that. A half-hour fireworks show is not necessarily a good thing. Jeff has learned over the years that 12 minutes of high impact is a much more impressive show than something drawn out for 20-25 minutes. So lots of things we've learned and lots of things that have been improved on over the years.
I don't know too many people in the area that have that kind of show.
Right. And what you have to understand is this as well. We try to do it so you can see it from any spot in the city. If you really wanted to see the most phenomenal fireworks show, we could do ground fireworks for the money that we spend, and it would be the most amazing thing that you've ever seen. But we choose to have the bigger shells, so you could be up on Monument Hill, or you could be, at some parking lot, and if you live up on the hill, you're able to see it, because that way everybody can enjoy them. But and Bob's right, we have learned an awful lot of things. One of the best things, and it was Herm's idea, was we have now started to, as part of our fireworks display, light them off of the roof of the Edward B. Cherry Amphitheater.
That surprised a lot of people when we started that.
That is correct. And then also, really for our last act on Saturday night, like the last grand finale song, we started to do that. And a girl that we had a couple years ago, her name was Natalie Stovall. She's now a country star. She signed a record deal and everything like that. She wrote an awesome piece on her blog about the City of DuBois, how great it was, and that was her first ever fireworks show. So,
and that's really that. And Paul and Tony need to be thankful for that. And along with the stage, they were a very big part.
Oh yes, their family was, and it's just it's a gem of the city. Really, we have a lot of wonderful things. Our park is second to none. Our walkway is second to none. Soon our Showers Field will be absolutely the best in the state. We're looking forward to all that. We're looking forward to all the community's cooperation to keep community days rolling. And again,
interesting too, the stage. An example of what Community Days has done in general. I don't think we would have that stage if it wouldn't have been for Community Days. Correct. But yet, look what the stage has done for the community in general. The city is now doing the summer concert series.
Absolutely.
We never would have that if we would not have had the stage.
Exercise classes. The
Relay for Life. I don't know when the show will air, but it's coming up very shortly, and it's in the park now, and it centers around the stage and those types of things. Yeah. We have that little carnival that's going on before Community Days is in the park. So just because that alone, it's not just a weekend thing. It's because of Community Days that and the electric in the park was put in because of Community Days. That allows other activities. Yeah. So it's interesting that Community Days has actually contributed to other activities and growth.
That's a very good point. And I tell you, a leader who has just taken the reign with that is our very own Scott Farrell. Scott works for the city, but he's also one of our Community Days co-chairman who sort of handles all the things in the park and what have you, and he's had the vision, like with the electric and with the electric panels. We have all new electric. He made some special requirements that you have to be part of it to participate in Community Days, which also leads to the Relay for Life or this or that or any time. But again, it's through the generosity of the City of DuBois as well that always
additional light posts.
That's exactly correct.
To light up Community Days and other events.
A lot of little things that people don't
realize.
see, little things behind the scenes.
City of DuBois Street Department. Steve Swope. Hey Steve, we could really use this. We need a couple branches cut down over there. Or, hey, can you make sure the grass is cut? Or hey, can you help us move the bleachers and what have you?
Put up some tents.
Never a whimper, never a word. The college kids. And again, that's why we're very thankful to Mayor Gilbert and City Council, because we always go to them to ask for permission. Yep. In which to do that. It's just everybody. Randy Schmidt in the Little League take a day off of Little League. And what have you. That's helped out a tremendous amount. People being generous. DMS letting us use their parking lot for handicapped viewing area for the parade. The junior high for the school district for letting us turn the parade around and use that every weekend. So it's a million little parts that make one thing go together. But all those little parts seem to really fit in well, and that's been the key to the whole success of the whole thing.
Bob, maybe just we're sort of wrapping up here and give you your last two comments, but maybe something that some of the viewers don't know is the name. Where did the name come from? Remember that way back then, and maybe you can explain to the viewers.
It's been so long. It originally was Community Day in the park because it was only a one-day event, and we wanted to let everybody know because it was new that it was in the park. And I think then after the first couple years, it grew to a Saturday and Sunday, so it became Community Days in the park.
You actually put something out, and the school kids voted on it, or made a name.
Yeah, we did. Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been 23 years.
Yeah. I want to say you put something out, and
the kids voted on it, come up with it.
I
think a lot of it too was, and the final decision was made on the fact that what are we going to, it was when we were trying to come up with something, it was like, what can we celebrate? I mentioned earlier that Tom Mix had been around for a while, but it had died. And, what do we do? And it was just what we've been talking about today. It actually was pretty simple when we thought about it. Let's just celebrate the community itself and bring everybody together. And
how about in closing? You guys, anything else you want to?
You start.
Go ahead.
In closing, just simply, again, we've reiterated a million times, but it's just the pride in how everyone comes together. It's just not Jeff Baronick, Herm Suplizio, or Bob Wachob. It's just not the DuBois Volunteer Fire Department. They're the major players. It's the City of DuBois Police Department, the Street Department. It's the person that volunteers 2 hours to work the booth. It's the Christian Missionary and Alliance Church that sets up and builds and buys a putt-putt golf arena in which to golf. It's the people that pick up the garbage, the Boy Scouts who always make sure everything's immaculately clean. It's just it's this church, it's that church, it's just the whole community, this business, that business, just wanting to come together for just a fun weekend with lots of smiles, lots of laughs, to be entertained in a way that we probably won't get to see too often in DuBois. And again, just a wonderful, wonderful community that makes a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful community days.
Yeah, I think just to wrap up, what I'd like to say is just a thank you to all of those who make it possible, and from the sponsors who give us their money, to the private citizens who donate to the cause, to the groups that participate in it. Just thank you to everybody, and if we all continue to work together, we'll get through another 23 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll make it another 23 years, but hopefully Community Days will.
Well, thanks again. I greatly appreciate Jeff for coming by and Bob for coming by, and greatly appreciate it. I'll wrap it up by saying this. Listen, it's a community event. We thank the community. It doesn't happen without the community. It's all of the community, from the little kids to the grown-ups to the little Boy Scouts who are picking up the garbage, to the
banner
carriers, $10,000 or $20,000 sponsor, to the banner carriers. We could not start. We would miss so many people, because it's just not, as Jeff said, it's just not one or two. We cannot name everybody. It's a community event, and I thank God we have both of you guys to organize it and make it happen. Once again, thanks for tuning in to another episode of DuBois Now. Till next time, I'm your host, Herm Suplizio.